I'm just going to let you know that I am in no way an authority figure on this subject, and if you want accurate information, you are probably best to be doing a little more research and getting information from the CDC and FDA. Also, most times in this section when I say the CDC, I do mean the FDA. Information about COVID-19 is always changing because we're always figuring out new things, so I make no guarantees that this video will be accurate at the time that you're watching it. When I say the vaccines are not approved, I mean they're not approved for normal use. They're still approved for emergency use authorization, which is basically when there's a pandemic, they want to get this shot to as many people as quickly as possible. Hello everybody and welcome back. I'm Patrick, and recently I got my COVID-19 vaccine. And I'm not finished, of course, I do need to get a second dose, but I really do think discussing this is a really important thing to do. I don't really like to talk about COVID on this channel because it's really going to be done soon, hopefully, and we won't have to look back at it. But I do think we need to get into the facts about mRNA vaccines and why you should get yours today. Let's get started. Before we get into the facts, we're going to debunk some myths, and I don't want to keep you waiting, so let's get started. Myth number one, it's the one I hear most commonly, it's that the mRNA vaccines mess with your DNA. They don't. It is true that a major component of the vaccines is RNA, which is DNA, but mRNA serves a specific purpose, and it doesn't even go into the nucleus of the cell where your DNA is kept. Basically, the mRNA vaccines tell your cells to make certain proteins which can help fight COVID-19. The mRNA makes its way to the ribosome, and then it tells the ribosome to make certain amino acids which turn into the protein. The protein is basically the spike on the outside of any images of the coronavirus that we have. The spike doesn't actually do anything, but it does tell your cells to get started working on a response. Once it creates the protein, then it displays it on the outside of the cell, and the other cells, they let each other know that, hey, we should probably start working on a response. They start making antibodies, and then you're able to fend off the virus much better. Once the RNA is done doing its job, the cell breaks it down and it's gone. So in response to myth number one, no, the mRNA vaccines do not actually mess with your DNA whatsoever. Myth number two, I don't hear this one as commonly, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's that the vaccines contain the coronavirus. No, the vaccines do not contain even a simulation of the coronavirus. Some vaccines, such as previous flu vaccines, have actually contained artificial, meaning grown in a lab, versions of the virus. They promote the same response as the actual virus itself, but they're not harmful to the body. However, I went into detail earlier about how the mRNA vaccines work, and so no, the mRNA vaccines do not contain parts of the virus. The third myth is probably the one that angers me the most. It's that these vaccines aren't safe. Well, while these vaccines aren't approved by the FDA, nothing is. Getting a vaccine approved by the FDA takes time, and that's something that we don't have. We want to get this into as many people's arms as we can, as fast as we can. Also, the CDC is checking in on any deaths that occur within a certain time period after a person has gotten the shot. Out of the 4,000 deaths-ish that have happened after a person has been injected with the vaccine, the CDC has concluded that none of them have anything to do with the injection. These people would have died anyway. The CDC is also still evaluating these vaccines. They're doing the best they can to make sure that there aren't any dangerous side effects that we could not know about yet. The vaccines contain strands of mRNA. The mRNA is called mRNA because it's messenger RNA. Once it makes its way to the ribosome will make nucleic acids. These basically are parts of proteins. It'll make the spike protein that's found on the outside of the coronavirus. It looks a little bit like this. The spike protein doesn't actually make you sick. That's what the rest of the coronavirus does. But it does promote an immune response. Once the spike protein is in the cell, it knows to start making antibodies that will prevent the virus. The same thing happens when a normal person that's unvaccinated is infected by COVID-19. The body realizes that the spike proteins aren't supposed to be there, and so the immune system starts to respond. However, we can do this without getting sick because of these vaccines. The virus has had a huge impact on our daily lives, and to get back to what is close to normal, the best thing we can do is get everyone vaccinated. The best thing you can do to help reset our world back to normal is get vaccinated yourself. It's free. It doesn't require any form of identification, although some is helpful, and it's completely safe. If this video convinced you to go get the vaccine, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your story. If you think this video would help someone else that is having vaccine hesitancy, which is a real thing by the way, then also let me know and share it with them. This past year and 4 or 5 months has been tough for all of us, but I think with your help we can get back to normal soon. Don't wait. Vaccinate. Thanks for watching.